welcome. Today I have a pair of art cards, and I start with some Bristol smooth paper cut to 3 by 4, but you can do them any size. You can do a tag, whatever it is you want, front of a card. I'm using a stencil. It's a 6 by 6. I'll have it listed in the description. And I'm spraying some distress ink in tumbled glass, and I'm just trying to hit the top of the card. Get a little overspray, but that's okay. And then, because there's so much ink on the stencil, I'm just going to inverse the stencil and hit the card with the stencil that's sprayed. And just to get a nice even layer, I run my paper towel over it. And I love this one better. I'm going to dry both of those. Oh, no, first I'm not going to dry them. I am going to put some tumbled glass on top. So it was tumbled glass spray with tumbled glass distress glaze. Sometimes there's a day or two between when I make the art that and when I do the voiceover that I forget some of the steps. So now I'm going to use my embossing gun on both these cards. Now I am editing, so I cut out how long it actually takes. It doesn't take a whole lot longer, but especially doing it this way, the embossing glaze is thicker in some points, so you just got to make sure you hit all of it and all of it gets melted. Take particular concern with or time with the thicker portions. I'm going to put a layer of tumbled glass down. And you could, I'm pointing out a spot that it was thick and some of the embossing glaze did not, so I just kind of brushed it off. You could leave it like this. I think it's very pretty just like this, but I'm going to add some texture paste, so the bottom half will have some texture paste on it. I'm going to use some Crackle. This one is, I couldn't get Tim Holtz Crackle paste. They were out when I ordered, and so I got Ranger. And I do have to say, unfortunately, that I don't like Ranger as much as Tim Holtz. It's flaky in the jar. Well, like when you open your jar, and Tim Holtz's doesn't do that. And after it's dry, some of the pieces came off, and they were pieces that were over top of glaze, or yeah, um, the embossing glaze. And Tim Holtz's doesn't do that. It will grip anything. So I would suggest, just wait it out by the distress line. I mean, if you're just going to go on paper and you don't mind the mess of the jar, it's fine. But I think the Distress brand is just a little step above. Now, you remember I flipped my stencil over to do this side, to ink it. So I'm not seeing the glaze, but I'm still adding texture. So it's going to be just a little different. It's not going to follow the same lines. It's going to create its own lines, but I think it looks fine. And I'm going to set these aside to dry. And voila, they're dry. So I'm kind of wanting to do blue sky, green grass. I don't often do that. Actually, I can't remember me ever doing that, but who knows, maybe. So I'm just taking my brush and adding some shabby shutters on top of the texture paste and the tumbled glass that's down there, or the speckled egg that's down there. Now see, right over there on the right, just below my hand, that's where the texture paste was on top of some of the embossing glaze, and the texture paste kind of flaked off. It's fine everywhere else, but right there, it did not want to stay. So I'm getting ready. Oh, first I'm going to add some vintage photo to all the edges of my ephemera. And everything is a digital download. I'll have it all listed with links in the description. Also, I buy all my digital downloads from Etsy, and I print them out on 90-pound white cardstock and fussy cut them out. These are going to be very similar. You might wonder, why would you make two cards so much alike? Well, I often give one to a friend who is going through a hard time, and so I send her a card at least every other week and include a piece of art. Aren't these leaves just gorgeous? They're from the Double Helix girls. And remember, whenever you're gluing on top of texture paste, it takes a little more glue, a little more time holding it down. And the same with the next one. I do change up that 40 a bit. Well, I grab a new one. And I'm adding some vintage photo around the edges. And that is it. If you have not subscribed, I invite you to do so. If you like this piece, hey, give me a thumbs up or leave me a comment. And I'll see you next time.